What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. What a busy weekend, as you can see by my face. I got sunburnt. But today I just want to talk about Mini Truckin Nationals and what my honest thoughts and opinions are about it. Amazing show. Hands down. Like, I'll go through everything, the entire show as a whole, about how great it is. I only have one gripe. One, and it's not even a big one, but you gotta wait till the end of the video to hear that. Before we get talking about the show, though, if you guys are new, appreciate you guys checking out the video. Hit the sub button, follow all the links down in the description below, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all that good stuff. If you guys are returning, appreciate the continued support. Shout out to everybody I saw down in Maggie Valley this weekend. Met lots of new friends, saw some old friends, met lots of cool companies, saw some awesome builds. But man, what a show. Wow. Okay, so I'll start from just like ground one and pulling up to the show. So I was kind of confused at first because I'm used to like major national truck shows where there's an event map, there's assigned parking for spectators and show vehicles and this and that and all that stuff. So my C10 got trailered down there with the shop and it was in the House Designs booth, but I drove this Tahoe all the way to Maggie Valley, so I had to park it in spectator parking. I didn't know where spectator parking was because I didn't see an event map. So at first I pulled up to the fairgrounds and I was kind of like, well, what the heck? Like, I don't see signs anywhere for spectator parking. What do I do? Luckily I rolled down the window and found a dude in a bag truck driving by, and I was like, yo dude, like, where's spectator parking, do you know? And he's like, wherever you can find it, bro. And I was like, for real? Okay. So I literally drove like 100 yards up the street and they have all this like shopping and stuff, and I just parked right there. Like, that's the cool part about this show, and one of the things I liked the best was the town is so into this show and so supportive of it that parking is just wherever you want. Like, all the businesses support this show. The whole town supports this show. Park wherever you can find parking and no one says anything because everybody is there to support the show. That is awesome. Like, I actually liked that. Like, I did not even care that there wasn't assigned spectator parking or whatever. It was just a free-for-all, and it worked out easy. Every single day, I never had trouble finding parking, and there was thousands of people down there, and it was a different spot every day, and it didn't even matter. So, shout out to Maggie Valley as a town for, like, just the support you guys give for the show. Awesome. Okay, so I parked. Walking up to the show, everything was very clearly marked where to go. You had a gate on the left that was for spectators, you had a gate on the right that was for show vehicles. Walked right up, they had very awesome staff sitting right there at the spectator gate. Super nice, super helpful, very welcoming. Paid, got my wristband, boom, right into the show. Like, I didn't even have to wait in line longer than like maybe 2 minutes to get into the show, and the show was packed. Like, they have a very good system down of getting people in and out of that show, so that was awesome. Got into the show. The layout, super simple. It was very well organized. You had kind of like 3 parts to the show. So like all the way, like when you first walk in, you're kind of in the main stage show area, which is the big section. You have a couple vendors that are right there. You've got the stage on the left, and then you have this massive field of all show vehicles and your food vendors and everything down there. And then if you walk through that to the back, there's kind of another field area with show vehicles, and then it loops around to this right, kind of back around or whatever, and that's all vendors back there. So everything is organized, it's all laid out, and the area is, the show is big, but the area is small. Like, they have so much stuff packed into that one small space, but it doesn't feel overcrowded. Like, it's very easy to walk from one end of the show to the other end of the show without getting tired, without getting exhausted and just bored from walking around. Like, there's a lot to do there in a very little space, and the venue size allows you to walk back and forth all day long without it being a pain. So I like that. I think that was good. I walked around constantly. Like, every hour or two I would get up and just walk through because there was new vehicles in and out every single day. The vendors were all super cool. They had awesome vendors this year. I usually don't buy a lot of stuff at shows, honestly, because it's usually the same companies, same people. There was completely new vendors at the show that I'm not used to seeing at shows, like Hammered Weekend Wear, Garage Gear Clothing was there, Low Label was there, like there was a ton. Drop 'em was there. Like, there was a ton of really cool vendors there. So I bought like hoodies and hats and shirts and banners, and it was cool. So I got to take home a lot of good stuff. But That, like, I thought that was really awesome. I liked the vibe, the atmosphere of the show. Hands down, one of the funnest shows I've ever been to. Like, everybody's cool. You can bring your pets. You can put your tents up. You can put your chairs up. Every single person there is willing to sit and talk to you about their truck. Every club there, super welcoming. The staff there, super helpful. Like, just the vibe of the show is just like an old school, laid back, chill vibe. Awesome. Like, there was no drama, no BS. Like, super fun show. I loved it. I will be back every single year now. Like, that's honestly one of my favorite shows now. So I thought that was really cool. Obviously the rides are really cool. They had like 700 and something trucks there. It was neat. I loved having my C10 there. I actually won best frame of the show for my C10, even though it's just a frame and wheels. It's a very custom frame that Justin built for me. And I had left early Sunday morning, but he sent me a text message with a picture, and he's like, yo bro, your C10 won best frame. Super awesome. Like, I'm very honored and humbled by that, especially with that being my first year at Maggie Valley. So Jason Bell and your staff, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. You guys throw one heck of a show, man. So I definitely applaud you guys on what you guys have been doing it for what, like 29 years or so. So you guys know what you're doing. You've got it down to a science, and I will refer this show to anybody. It was awesome. So yeah, other than that, the only issues we had the whole weekend, weather. It was hot, it was cold, it was rainy, it was windy. Like, you can't do anything about that. That is an outdoor show. The staff and the event have no control over that whatsoever. That's just luck of the draw. So can't hold that against the show at all. And as much as it got cold and it got windy and it got rainy, it didn't stop the show. Everybody was still there having a good time, didn't even care. Like, I was out there in the rain, I was out there in the cold, like, I still had fun. I loved it, and everybody was smiling. So I think that says, like, a lot about the show. Now, before we get into the one thing that I didn't like, and it wasn't even a big thing, like, you guys will laugh when I say it, I'll talk about the cruise. My favorite part of this show. So Friday night and Saturday night, the show closes at 5, the gates stay open so you can take vehicles in and out, and the fairgrounds is right there on the strip of the town. And the entire town comes out in chairs and holding signs, and all the families and the kids and all the businesses, and you just see thousands of people out there up and down that street all night long cruising. Cruising is legal there, and it is encouraged and supported. They have the cops there, they've got the fire department there, and they don't mess with you at all. As long as you act like a responsible adult and you are there to have fun and not cause problems, you get treated like an adult and you are allowed to show off your vehicle. And that is never allowed at big shows because of all the problems people cause. It was awesome. It didn't matter if you had your wheel rings on, your rock lights on. It didn't matter what color they were. It didn't matter if you had your system bumping. Like, it didn't matter if you aired out the entire back end of your truck and you were dragging sparks down the street. Like, they encourage it and they love it. Like, you'd never see that anywhere else. That was awesome. Like, I had a really good experience. I literally brought a chair down there and I sat there for like 3 hours every night, just meeting new people and seeing all these awesome rides drive by. And it was a cool experience. So just aside from the show alone, the night activity there, like, hands down, like no other. Awesome. I will definitely be scraping the C10 down that street next year once it gets finished getting built. So that was cool. Like, if you guys haven't experienced that, I highly recommend going to Mini Truckin Nationals next year and going. And even the thing that I liked the best about it was they only allowed like 700 and something vehicles into the show. So a lot of people, their vehicles didn't get into the show. That did not stop them from coming. Like, they still trailered and drove their trucks down, and they parked them outside the show, and they cruised their trucks at night with all the rest of the vehicles that had gotten into the show. And that was cool to see. Was parking all up and down the street was still full of show vehicles. It was literally like a show outside of the show. Like, there was stuff everywhere. Like, it was cool. Now, my one gripe, and before I get into it, I just want to say thank you to Jason and your staff. Amazing show. I loved it. I will recommend it to anybody. I will be back every single year. It's a 7-hour drive from my house. I'm going to make a vacation out of that. You guys throw hands down one of the best shows I've ever been to. So, like, there's nothing I can say to take that away from you. You guys proved it. Like, you guys are awesome. I loved it. Okay, so my one gripe, and it's not even that big, and it happens at 95% of the shows, and there's really nothing you can do about it. So, food vendors. they had a lot of food vendors. You can never gauge how many people are going to be at your show, how big your spectator gate's going to be and stuff like that. Like, I understand it owning a show myself, and we had problems at my show. Like, it is what it is. So around like 11:30, I started to get hungry on Saturday, and I was like, I'm gonna get some lunch. And I was like, well, it's around lunchtime. I saw some of the lines starting to stack up a little bit, so I said I'm gonna wait a little bit for the lines to die down. So then around 1:30, I couldn't wait anymore. I was like, I'm hungry, I need food. So I hopped in line, and I hopped in the shortest line that I could find to just grab food. And I waited in line for an hour to get food. And when I got up to the food vendor, they were out of like half the stuff on the menu. So I just got some random stuff, and it was what it was. Like, Friday was fine, Sunday was fine. It was just Saturday, and that's the busy show day. So not the staff's fault, not the show's fault. Like, that's on the food vendors themselves. They didn't bring enough food to supply the amount of customers that they expected to have. Like, it happens. I get it. You cannot control when people get hungry, when they want to eat. Like, it is what it is. So it's not even a fault of the show. It's just a circumstance that happens, and it happens all the time, and there's really nothing you can do about it. Now, with that, it didn't even matter. Why? Because even with all the food vendors there, even if there were long lines, even if they did run out of some food, you know what was right outside the gate? An entire town full of food and restaurants. Like, I can't tell you how many times, like, I just walked out of the show, grabbed ice cream, snacks, I went and got pizza, like all kinds of stuff, and then I literally walked 5 minutes back into the show. So, like, the food vendor, like, you could honestly probably not even have food vendors at that show, and people could still go get food. Like, it doesn't even matter. So that my one little gripe I have about that show is honestly irrelevant, because it doesn't affect your experience at all. It didn't affect mine. If you were hungry, you can literally just walk outside the gate. So, like, that's it. Like, I have nothing bad to say about that show. I can't wait for next year. I'm definitely coming back. I'm probably going to try and set up as a vendor there, honestly, for Rollin' Reckless Apparel, or either for our show for Dirty South. Definitely a show that I'm going to support going forward. Definitely a show that I'm going to attend and show my truck at. Definitely a show I'm going to come down and cruise at. Like, the people there, the vibe, the show, awesome. Like, it's definitely in my top 5 of shows for sure. And I go to some big shows, like for the lifted scene and with bag trucks and all that stuff like that, and this was not even close to like the biggest show I've ever been to. Like, I would consider this show small, to be honest, for the amount of vehicles that were there, like 700 and something vehicles. Like, that's not a large show on the scale of like these big level truck shows and stuff like that, where you're used to 2,500 or 2,000 or 1,500 or whatever. But even though the size of the show was smaller, the show was still big, because everything was like right there, packed in. It didn't feel small. There was tons of people walking around, and I had more fun at that show than I did at some of these massive shows where you just spend hours walking around all day, and you're tired and you're hot, and like, it is what it is. But that's it. That's all I got for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed my opinion on Mini Truckin Nationals. I'm sure 99.9% of you guys all feel the same way about this show. I'm sure you guys all love it. I've never heard anything bad about this show, and I probably never will. It's awesome. I can't wait to see you guys next year at Mini Truckin Nationals. Once again, Jason and your staff, amazing job. Whether you guys see this video or not, I don't know, but I just want to give a sincere thank you to you guys for the time and the effort that you guys put into this show. You guys are outstanding, and I wish you guys continued success for many more years to come. And I really hope that this show just continues to get better and better each year, and I can't wait to see what's in store for 2024. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you sub to the channel, and I'm out.